Hi everyone, this is Anastasia from Phoenix Nightingale. I'm a coach, speaker, and author, and I'm really glad to present this video to you today. This is going to be relative to our archetypal course that we're offering this year and in future years. So a little bit about me is that, over the practice that I've had, incorporating different healing modalities over the years and always really saying, like, if I'm finding resistance in myself or others, what is it all about? Like, what knowledge is out there that could create understanding so that when we incorporate them into our being, it becomes true wisdom. And when you have wisdom, it is a part of you, it becomes a part of you, and you start to realize that you can see the other for what they are without judgment and hold space for yourself while you work within those relationships. Archetypes are a very big part of that, as I incorporated them a couple years ago in my goddess cultivation experience. The archetypal certification that I participated in is the Caroline Myss archetypes. And this is her card deck that goes along with it. It's a phenomenal modality because I found it to be very freeing, and I love when I find something that's very freeing. To me, the truth is freeing. I used to say years ago, like, I wish somebody would just tell me the truth, and the fact is that they weren't telling me the truth because they didn't know the truth, and it was like this whole like inner deception of my own self and them, and it's an extraordinary thing. But I don't want to get all wrapped up into that. I want to talk about the empowerment of the archetypes. So I signed up for her 2-year course. I'm still within that course because the second year you cast your chart of archetypes on the zodiac wheel, and then you ask certain questions that are really the epitome of your own personal resistance. And once you do that, there's 36 archetypes that you literally walk the chart, and it takes an entire year to do. But that being said, I'm ready to present the archetypes to all of you. And so we're having our seminar this March in 2020, and I'm really looking forward to it. So there's going to be an introduction to the archetypes where we talk about the 4 survival archetypes, and then there's 8 other archetypes that you'll need to pick for yourself. And there's a certain way that we go about helping you find what those things might be. And again, then it's also an evolutionary process where you continue to walk through this, continue to be more self-aware, and see yourself inside your archetype. Because all archetypes, so within her card deck, it's really interesting. So that one just didn't want to come up, so that was kind of cute. So you have a light aspect and a shadow aspect. So when people, a lot of times they're like, well, I need to leave this part of me behind. I'm never going to have this again. When you realize what your archetypes are, they're not something for you to hate about yourself. They're not something for you to cast away. There's something for you to evolve. You evolve more from the shadow and you work more from the light. The shadow teaches us. Only when we can see our own shadow can we actually become enlightened. And I was just floored about that because, it's really hard sometimes when you're working on your solar plexus chakra and you want to have your authentic self and your healthy identities, and you keep getting in these ego fights with people and all these different things that go on, and it can create a lot of pain and suffering in our lives because really as human beings we want to be connected. So when we go through this class, you will each get your archetypal deck and we will go through the introduction. We will talk about Caroline Myss and how she realized through her own medical intuition work what she was seeing was archetypal. If somebody was playing the victim role or the saboteur or the prostitute or the child was showing up, and those base things, but then also people had other archetypes, like the one I just picked up was the damsel. Here's another one, the engineer. It's like some people, they're just very handy, right? Perhaps they have the engineer archetype. Other people, they can't put things together to save their lives. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make you more or less of a person, a man, a woman, or whatever. It's just something that if you don't have that archetype, then why try to be that archetype? And also, when you see that archetype in others, it's like, wow, when we talk about this thing where it's the interdependence in the world and how do I work with another person and their strengths, well, if they have the engineer archetype, well, maybe they're going to build that while you do something else, right? Like, it just makes sense. And instead of making yourself wrong, you could say, well, I could really rely on this part of myself because I have these archetypes. And it's very, very empowering, and it's really, really fun. And then what you're going to do in this class is you're going to cast, once you find your archetypes, you will cast them on your astrological chart. And just like when you're born, that chart doesn't change. And so to the best of our ability, with the most clarity that we possibly can, and we will invoke spirits so that everything is clear, and we will let go and trust that whatever comes in is true, in fact. And I love when I do that because it's something you don't have to, oh, what if it's wrong? Like, people pick the bottles, the Arsoma bottles, and like, well, what if I pick the wrong one? That is not going to happen. You always pick what's right for you, especially if you're not picking from an ego. You see what I mean? And so we have to work through those things and realize, what it is that we really are, as opposed to what maybe somebody told us what we are or what we're not. And so anyway, once you do that, then you cast the chart. And that sets a really beautiful foundation. So any other work that you're doing, you can think about that. You can contemplate that work. When you're working with us specifically, I literally will help people. I have a whole coaching program where it's like, if you want to cast a question and work with that, we can do it that way, or really discover more depth about your archetypes and what that means. I think this was showing up today. How does that show up in your relationship and stuff? It's so powerful to work with these archetypes. And archetypes are just universal patterns that everyone has. And it's like I said, you either have it or you don't. And in the Arsoma color healing system, if you've watched any of my videos, you've probably heard me talk about the human aura, and that it's a light body, and that if an angel was standing here, they would recognize you through your harmonics. They wouldn't actually see you in this physical mass. They just say, oh, that's Anastasia, or however they recognize me. And it would be an energy that they would see. And so we call that harmonics. And how we would pick those on a soul level has a lot to do with how we are going to meet up with certain other archetypes or harmonics in our lives. And it's such an empowering thing to know that that's what it is. The other thing we're going to talk about is, we have the 7 main chakras. We also have the 8th chakra, which is the soul star chakra. Actually, this bottle's poking out at me now, so I'm going to just show this to you, because this is the magenta ray of the soul star chakra. This is where, when we evolve our energy system, we get to go up into that soul star chakra, and it's like, we don't take things personally. We can look at it. That's where all the archetypes are coming in. They're going, oh yes. So if somebody betrays you, you have to learn about forgiveness. And what does that have to do? Is that your child? And you're like, okay. And it's not about analyzing everything, but it's about taking the wounds out of the control, out of the seat that's driving, and saying, I don't want my wounds to do this. I want my archetypes to do it, and I want to honor myself. We talk about the throat chakra, stepping into my own authority and stop needing to have control out of fear. How can we possibly do that? Archetypes is one of the ways that, again, you can find out who it is that you are. And so I'm really excited about this workshop, and I invite you to, if you have any questions, feel free to, call us, email us. All of our information is on our website and our Facebook page. And we hope to hear from you, and we look forward to seeing you in March. And again, the sooner that you think that you're wanting to do this, the better we can almost even prep you. And again, as it evolves, I'm thinking about what would be best for everyone to do preliminarily. And if you sign up last minute, you sign up last minute. But I just love it. It's almost like the collective group comes together, and we figure out what it is specifically that's going to happen relative to we have the structures for the class, and depending on the people that are coming in and the archetypes that show up, it gets really interesting and fun. So I really look forward to seeing you then. Any other questions, please do post them or email us with them, and I'll be happy to do even another video. And so thank you. All right, we'll see you then. Bye.